Hey guys! As you guys know, we had a special guest on tonight. I am so excited to introduce you to my friend, Krista Dearey, who is now an Emerald Ambassador. This is our first guest speaker on Team Anchors, Mustang, and Dynamite, kind of a combined umbrella group of teams here. And I am so excited that she has taken the time to invest in our team all the way over in Florida. It is 11 o'clock. Crazy, crazy mama. And I'm going to go ahead and let her get started. Thank you so much, Krista.
You're welcome. It's an honor to be on this call. I love that all y'all are in California. I grew up in California until I was 16 in Sassoon. Do you know where that is? Near Vacaville. I went to school in Vacaville. I have family in Placerville and near San Francisco and in Napa. They are all there, actually, except for my parents. They're up in Washington right now. So anyways, y'all are near and dear to my heart. But yes, my name's Krista Dearey. It is crazy to say that I'm an Emerald Ambassador. My husband, Chad, is a Ruby Ambassador. He is sound asleep, but he loves this business, and he would be chatting away with you guys too if he could. We have been married for 15 years. We have 7 children, ages 14 down to 2. We homeschool 5 of them together, which is a treat. Chad is home full-time with us. Plexus is our primary income now, which is a dream come true. So he is now a homeschool dad with me and cooks with me and cleans with me and does laundry, praise the Lord. And we get to just do life together, which is so cool. So we have the 5 older ones that we homeschool. Then I have Judah, who is a special needs little guy. He goes to a special needs school. And a little 2-year-old named Malachi, and he's just a trip right now. So he's the life of the party. It's like having a puppy dog to my big kids. I just think he's great. They just chase him around and love him. But I'm going to just give some backstory to who we were before Plexus, because all of you guys know that you are offering something that changes lives. But I want to instill that a little bit further if I can. And that was kind of my mission in first joining. Was it had been such a radical change in my life. I knew if it just would impact one other person the same way it did to me, it was going to be worth anything to get it in the hands to that one person, because truly my life looks very, very different than it did just 2 years ago. But everyone walks through trials, right? Everybody. And pain is pain. I've learned that along the way. Pain is just pain. It comes in different packages, but it still is pain. And we came down to Florida from Minnesota 11 years ago, thinking this was going to be our promised land. We were just on a high, just wanting to follow the Lord wherever he would take us, and had our hands open wide saying, God, we'll go wherever you tell us to go, and we'll do what you tell us to do, and we love you. And Florida's great. Like the fact that they brought us to Florida, we were like, perfect. Palm trees and beaches. We thought, we're like in the middle of the state. There is no beaches right here, but we thought it would be glorious and be our promised land, and that life would be good because we obeyed him and we moved and we followed him. But instead, it has been like the backside of the desert for us. It has been 11 years of a bit of difficulty. And at the time when we first moved, we had 2 boys. I was pregnant with my first girl, my 3rd child. And we were getting into real estate a bit. We were also part of a network marketing business back then. It was how my husband even came to know the Lord, was through that network marketing company before we met. And we had dreams everywhere. We had posters actually on the walls in like every room of our house that said, go Diamond, go Pastor. And then within that poster was a picture of a Lexus. That was my favorite car. How ironic, isn't it? And a picture of our home that we wanted, and a playground for our children. Just all of our dreams, they were everywhere. We had learned how to dream. It was a beautiful thing. But a few years later, realized after 10 years in that company and never making more than about $300 a month, but yet investing about $1,500 a month and investing a lot of time, it was not where the Lord wanted us to stay, and he kind of shifted us out of that. Chad got into real estate. We thought maybe that would be our big break, but instead, when the market crashed, especially here in Florida, but I know it did across the U.S., the Dearey family crashed with it. And we went from feeling like we were on the cusp of being millionaires, to be very transparent, but also I say that with such humility, because then it seemed like in a moment we lost everything. We lost 6 rental properties. We lost our home on 30 acres. And Chad had lost his job that he was kind of carrying as he was trying to invest. And he also had invested hundreds of thousands in what we thought was a hotel here on the coast of Florida. That turned out to be a scam, and that gentleman is now in prison after the FBI found him. I mean, everything fell apart very fast. And we found ourselves in a year of just living on Jesus. I mean, we lived with friends for a few weeks. We were basically homeless when we lost our home. We didn't have much income coming in, if at all. Sometimes my husband was knocking on doors selling like pizza coupons. He was taking every random job he could, trying to find something. It was a humbling time. He had gone from owning a mortgage company in Minnesota to now knocking on doors selling pizza coupons. And I was selling everything I could, any of our belongings that I could, our kids' toys, our clothes, everything, our furniture on Craigslist, just to have enough money to go get food on our table. So it was a humbling time. It was good. It was a wake-up call to recommit our finances to the Lord. But it was also a breaking time where we took all those dreams down off the wall. We found ourselves in a little 1,000-square-foot rental home with our kids. And we stopped dreaming, like literally stopped. It was a decision that we intentionally made. Like we were just sick of it. We were so broken and confused and asking ourselves, man, have we just missed the Lord on all of this? You know, maybe we weren't even supposed to move here. And Lord, did we just mess up our life? Because we were just a hot mess. And so those dreams went into a file in our filing cabinet, and we settled for, this is just what life is going to be. A lot of couponing at one point on food stamps, just a humbling time, lots of hand-me-downs. We are very thankful, and the church that we were part of was a tremendous blessing in just keeping us afloat while we were trying to make ends meet. Fast forward a little bit, and we had our baby boy, Judah. He's now 5 years old. His name means praise, and we thought, my goodness, the Lord has named him praise. We are entering into a praise season. This is going to be a good victory season, and a new time for our family. But when he was 5 weeks old, instead, it felt like the carpet had been pulled out from underneath us, and we found ourselves spiraling really quickly. He had 2 spontaneous brain hemorrhages. 3 years later, we found out one occurred in the womb and one occurred outside of the womb. We still aren't fully sure why. We do know he has a double mutation of the MTHFR gene mutation that we hear about now with X Factor. What was the other thing that they've pinpointed? There's been a few different things, but anyways, all we know is it destroyed much of his brain. So our life went from kind of normal, a little crazy with 6 kids at the time, and in a postpartum haze. I had dealt with postpartum issues after each baby, but very quickly went into a 911 call, and the ambulance is taking our son to a hospital and transporting him to another one, while at the same time finding out that anytime there's a brain hemorrhage, your family's under investigation. And so while he's being transported, they're letting us know, we're not sure if he's going to make it, but you can't come. You need to stay there. And sure enough, we opened our door and we had police cars around us, and we were questioned. They woke up each of our children at 2 a.m. And it was like walking through 2 nightmares at the same time. 1, wondering if we'd lose our child, and 2, realizing we were considered guilty until proven innocent. And it rocked us. It rocked us hard because life hasn't looked the same since. We entered into a world of doctors and therapists and a lot of questions and a lot of pain, to life not looking anything like it used to what used to be so easy, like going out to eat after church is just really not an option. It's not easy, at least, if we want to try doing it. So obviously it was a time of a lot of hurt. I jumped into caregiver mode for our son, went from a homeschool mom that was home every day to being gone every day and caring for him and trying to get answers. And of course that takes a toll on your health, for sure. I didn't think about my health much at all. I just kind of got in the zone. When he was 3 years old, I think, some of my time blurs, my hair started falling out. My thyroid was super swollen. I had chronic fevers that weren't going away. I was being tested for thyroid cancer, and I met with a doctor here, and he said, well, Krista, I mean, you've had all these kids, and now you've had all this stress of what's happened to Judah, and your body's just kind of failing on you. Like, that's all he left me with. It was like, this is just your body. It's just giving out on you. Like, well, thank you. That's so encouraging. So he had me checked for cancer. We headed up to Minnesota, stayed with family there, sought help with doctors there, and began to re-strengthen my body. When we then found out we were pregnant with number 7, how a 7th child can be a surprise, I don't know, but he was a surprise. And after Malachi was born, I re-spiraled again. So I had been dealing with flashbacks and some different issues after Judah, but those were mainly limited to if I heard an ambulance, I could have a flashback to that, to the night of his brain injury. Or if I heard a baby cry in a shopping store, I would have a flashback to Judah. The smell of hand sanitizer, seeing a doctor really, and a white lab coat could give me a flashback. But now all of a sudden, I had my hormones in such a mess after a brand new baby, number 7, wasn't getting any sleep. My body was just kind of wonky, but I have a baby boy that was a constant flashback, and I found myself spiraling in my health very, very quickly, especially in my mental stability. And a dear friend of mine reached out. I had been on this journey of learning transparency, of opening up about our life, especially about Judah, of my faith walk with it, and what I was learning about the Lord, about allowing the Lord to heal my heart in this process, that it was more than just desiring healing for my son's body, but healing for my own heart. And was beginning to just see Facebook as kind of my ministry and my way to stay in touch with the outside world while my life was so consumed in my home. And briefly mentioned my flashbacks. I had made it through an appointment with limited flashbacks. And so my friend, when she saw that, was like, oh my goodness, I have something that can help her. And she reached out, pastor's wife, sweet as can be. But when she shared Plexus with me, I wanted nothing to do with it at all. I blew her off for 4 months. I thought it was a weight loss drink. I thought it had artificial colors and artificial sweeteners, and I didn't want it. I also thought that I knew everything there was to know about supplements. I admit that I was a supplement snob. I have chiropractors in the family, and they were sending me all kinds of supplements, and I was on B12 injections and all kinds of essential oils and progesterone creams. So I should have gotten the hint that maybe this isn't working though. I may have what I think is the best stuff and the best probiotics, but yet I was a hot mess. But I wasn't willing to admit that yet with the world. What she didn't see was how much my emotions were spiraling. No one would have known this based on what I posted on Facebook. I was very adamant about not being negative on Facebook. And I was such a people pleaser. I didn't want to bring anyone down or make them feel sorry for me. But my husband was dealing with it in a big way. And so she reached out to me, July of 2014. I blew her off, but each month got worse. And October of 2014 was our bad month. It's the month that Chad and I can refer back to when everything fell apart. And I didn't want to leave my bed. I definitely didn't want to leave my house. He was doing everything. How he was doing it, I'm not sure, with 7 children here and caring for our Judah. Judah's 5 now, but he functions much like a 6-month-old. So anyways, it's like staying in newborn care mode at all times. So October 2014, one evening, in the midst of everything, in the midst of saying, God, I don't even know why you made me. I don't know why I'm here. There's no purpose to my life. I have made a mess of my life. Chad would be better with a different wife. He'd be better with a different mom for these kids. And I just need you to end my life. It just needs to go away. That I just was broken. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't see straight. I couldn't, I would try to get in the Word, and it just wasn't coming together. I tried to go to church. It wasn't coming together. I just felt like a mess. And so one night I left our home. It was as if I was in this movie and everything's spinning around me. And I remember just kind of putting my hands to my head and looking all around, just oh my gosh, I can't do it anymore. And I just left. I didn't say a word. I just got in my car and left. Now I'm kind of ditzy. I'm really ditzy actually. And I was ditzy that night too, because it did take me long to realize I don't even have family here. I have nowhere to go. I couldn't figure out what to do with our car. Later on, I showed Chad the stop sign where I thought I was going to crash into the stop sign and that would end things. And he's like, Krista Dearey, with a 12-passenger van, you would have done more to the stop sign than it would have done to you. But, whatever. I mean, it's funny now. But in the moment, it was really dark. In the moment, I didn't know how to end things. I didn't know how to make this go away. And I also didn't realize that it was my body, that my body was a hot mess. So when I came home that night after the kids were in bed, Chad was on the couch and he said, I didn't think you'd come back. And I had to be real with him and say, you know what, I didn't plan on coming back, and I need to be honest with you. And I just kind of bared my soul with him as to how dark my thoughts had gotten. And it was a wake up to us that we needed to do something and we needed to change it fast, because he was wondering if he'd have a wife much longer. That Sunday I went to church and asked my pastor's wife to pray with me, and was the most transparent I've been outside of our home. And I said, you know what, I don't even think I believe any of this stuff anymore. And she wagged her little finger at me. She's this tiny little petite gal, and she goes, you know what, girl, we got to get your hormones balanced. This is your hormones. And I was like, okay, thanks. Like, just pray over me already, you know? And she marches over to Chad. She's like, stop having babies. If this is what it's going to do to her, stop having babies and go get her hormones fixed. I don't care what you do. Go fix her hormones. So we got in the car and we're looking at each other like, well, great. Okay, so what do we do to fix my hormones? Like, what does that even mean? And I've already seen doctors. I had done so much, y'all. And I knew that medication, it wasn't the answer I was looking for. I'm sure it can be great for some people. I just really didn't want to do that. Although at the same time, checking into a hospital sounded like a 4-star resort. I just was like, oh, they could cook for me and clean for me. Perfect. But we sat down again that day. I said, Chad, so my friend Heather, she told me that there's this pink drink that I guess can help with this kind of stuff. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. It's called Slim. And I don't know what's in it, but I guess it could help, she said, and they have a money-back guarantee. And so I made a bargain with Chad. Can I try it for 60 days? If it doesn't work, then at the end of 60 days, I'll get my money back, and I'll go see a doctor, and I'll go on medication. And that's how it all started. I became a preferred customer in November of 2014 with 1 bag of Slim, and that alone was a big stretch for us. We were still rebuilding our finances. We still are today. We were having fundraisers for our Judah and for his medical bills every 6 months. So buying a bag of Slim seemed so big. I don't know if Chad readjusted when he paid our phone bill or what he did, but we got that bag of Slim, and I stayed consistent. I did everything I was told to do. And I already knew enough about natural supplements to know not to expect everything to be perfect week 1, that it may take some time. And so I just did it and didn't pay much attention to anything. Just committed to 60 days. I would do it every single day. It was hidden in my cupboard so no one would see that I was drinking it. But by the end of month 2, Chad looked at me, actually from right over here, right outside this little computer screen here, right in our kitchen. He looked over at me and said, Krista, you're just like the girl that I married. I have my wife back. And in that moment, I think I've been doing like the do-si-do with the kids or something. I was present. I was present again in my home. I'd always been here. I'd been a stay-at-home mom for all this time, but it'd been a long time since I could mentally and emotionally be present, just be all here and enjoy the moments. And it wasn't like life got easy all of a sudden. It wasn't like my Judah was walking and crawling and could sit on his own. Nothing had changed in our circumstances. What changed was my body was balancing out. And so I had mood stability again, praise the Lord, and I had energy, and I was sleeping better. And I wasn't having the flashbacks. I've had 2 years now without a flashback, which has been super cool. I was flabbergasted, and I was trying to figure out, did the Lord heal me? And it just happened to be at the same time I was on this pink drink, or could this pink drink really do this? It really just seemed unreal. I had never taken a supplement and seen such a drastic change. I just took them because I knew it was good to take them. So I entered into that new year really wrestling with myself, whether I could lay down my pride and whether I could lay down my fear of man and their opinion of me, and would I admit to anybody that I was on this stuff, because it was such a night and day difference, that there was a passion that was stirring in me that people needed this. It was this big secret I had that could really do so much for other people, but I also was totally afraid to admit it to anybody, and had to let go of my supplement pride, I guess, too. and the fact that people may think differently of me. I wasn't sure. But as we entered the new year, Chad was looking at changing jobs. He wanted to start a new company. I asked him to put it on hold because I had something in my heart that God was going to do something big in our finances. Plexus was not on the radar at all as a business, but there's this stirring in my heart that I think God's going to do something. I think it's going to happen in January. And so we entered into the new year. I just said, please don't make that investment right now. Hang tight. Well, January 6th, I went 1 day without my Slim. My preferred order was just 1 day late. And the change in me was enough for me to snap out of my questions of whether God had just healed me and it just happened to be during that pink drink time. I realized, okay, wow, that was really the pink drink. Okay, where's the mailman? So as soon as the mailman came the next day, I could not wait to get my hands on that bag of Slim. I finally knew it really was that bag of Slim that had helped me so much. And I snapped a picture of it. I didn't use a fancy filter. It was not the best picture in the world. It was sheer passion in a moment of no judgment. I just snapped it, put it on Instagram and Facebook. I already loved social media, put it out there, and I don't even know what I said. Something like, I'm so happy the mail lady came, and I don't know, 2 more sentences about probably non-compliant too, about what had happened for the last 2 months on this pink drink. My inbox blew up. So unexpected. I was still a preferred customer. And so I'm messaging Heather. I'm like, Heather, how do I sign up to be an ambassador? And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. I mean, you can stay as a preferred customer. Pretty soon you'll get the extra 10% discount. It's not a big deal. I'm like, no, I have to sign up. Actually, I have people who want to order. And so I'm writing back to people who are responding to me in this post at the same time as I'm trying to figure out, how do I sign up as an ambassador now? And then what do I do? And literally, I knew nothing about this stuff still. So they're asking me, well, Krista, what's this pink drink? They knew I liked supplements. I had been someone that people would come to if they needed some probiotics or something that they'd just borrow it from my fridge. But I don't know. I don't know all the reasons people trusted me or jumped right in, but I was getting messages and literally responding with, hey, I don't know what this pink drink is. I'm not even really sure what's in it, but here's what happened for me. And that was the day that a surprise business opportunity and a breakthrough to our finances that we had prayed for 8 years, it started that day. I really thought that, maybe I'll have 3 customers and that'll be pretty cool. But the first month I ended up having like over 1,000 PV. Second month had over 4,000 PV and went silver. The third month had over 5,000 PV, and the fourth month and went gold the 4th month, and senior gold my 5th month. And by the time I went senior gold, my income matched Chad's. That got his attention. He signed up. He jumped right in. It was like, okay, if you can do this, then what if we do this together? And oh golly, it's been a whirlwind ever since. It's been a big whirlwind. But I think things took off in the beginning, and we'll kind of phase into part of a couple things in my heart. It took off in the beginning, one out of just passion, and belief in what it had done for me. But there was still a lot of belief that had to be restored or had to be built up, because month 6 in June, so I started in January, June through October, I stalled out, and I even went backwards because I kind of had to catch up with what just happened to my life. I've been a homeschool mom who's never, ever made money, ever. I worked at a coffee shop while I was in college. I didn't even finish college, so I don't have experience, or I was flabbergasted that I was actually making money by posting about something that I loved on Facebook. It still is kind of funny to me that we can do this, but I think being vulnerable and giving it to the Lord, and knowing that there are people out there that needed what I had, it kept me going for those first few months. But I did have to catch up in my belief. I was still wrestling with, is this even what I want? And can I do this? And who is Plexus Worldwide? And who are the president? Like, what is this company even? And can I fully put my name on this and my reputation on this? And then how do we juggle a family and a special needs child? And so there was a lot of adjustments along the way. One analogy I've shared with our team is a labor and delivery. Sorry, but I've had 7 kids, and 6 of them we had at home. But when you are in labor and you're having these contractions, if you resist these contractions, they're painful and they're miserable, and they're not as effective. But when you're having a contraction and you understand what's taking place in your body, and so because you understand it, you have less fear, and because you have less fear, you're more relaxed, and you just give in to the process of this labor and delivery, the contraction's more effective, and your labor is more pleasant, it's not as painful, and gets things going a little bit more. And I think, especially in the beginning there, I was resisting the pain. I was resisting the process. I probably quit 37 times, at least, maybe more. I've had so many moments of going to Chad or going to the Lord or going to my upline, Diamond, Lori Harrison. I've gone to her quite a few times, actually. Even the day after hitting Ruby, it's like, Lori, I don't think I can do this. I'm exhausted. I don't know what my life was like before Plexus anymore. Like, what does this even look like? But what I wasn't realizing is just because sometimes it got hard, it didn't mean it was because God didn't tell me to do this. He did. Every time I gave it back to him, he gave it right back to me and said, no, daughter, this is what I've given you to do. This is what I put in your hands to do. This is what you've prayed for all this time. It looked different. It's a different package than what I thought he would do. Completely different package. But most often, the times it got hard was because of either choices I had made in poor time management, like totally too many times. That was my fault. It wasn't what the Lord did. Or maybe it was the choices of others. Maybe it was getting my feelings hurt. But there was a process to that. And if I could embrace the process, embrace those contractions, if I got my feelings hurt, take the time and say, okay, well, why did that hurt my feelings? Let's dig deep. Or why did this person's opinion of me and what I'm doing, why did that make me step back? Who is this person? And why do they have any say in my life? And writing it down on paper to determine it, to help me figure out, why am I giving them a say? There were plenty of times that I could have quit because of hurt feelings, or because of feeling that this was hard, or that I was inadequate and I couldn't make it. But I tell you what, it is worth it if you'll embrace the process. Truly, I would do this for free just for the personal development, because who I was 2 years ago was a little bit too scared to even go to church on Sundays, but even more so on Wednesdays. My husband led a class of 5th graders, and I was too scared to teach the class with him. 5th graders. That's how shy I was. And insecure. And so to be on this journey now where I'll talk on a Zoom is hilarious. My first time even turning the camera on a Zoom was when I was asked to speak on one, because up until then I just kept the camera off, and I just kept it even turned to the window just in case it was on. I didn't know it was on. All of this, everything about this whole journey has been completely contrary to who I was, and completely out of my comfort zone. It has been overcoming fears. It has been learning communication with my husband, and how to rearrange even our home and our schedules and view things differently, embracing this process of personal growth for all it is, learning that there is seasons, not to be surprised by the seasons. You're going to have seasons where you do not feel like you're growing at all, and if you judge your success based on what you see in front of you right this very moment, it's not smart. It's not going to be fulfilling. Because if we look outside, well, not here, it's still warm here, but if I was like living up north, if it's winter season, it's not like you go into a panic attack that spring's not going to come, right? You can rest in knowing that spring's right around the corner. And during spring, if it's raining a lot, you know that summer's coming and it's going to be warm and you're going to go swimming. And after summer, you know there's going to be fall, right? Like, we know there's seasons in life. There's going to be seasons in your business too. Don't be shocked by seasons. If it's a slower season, embrace it. Embrace that you get to rest right now. Embrace that you get to grow. You have extra time to read books then right now. You have extra time to watch trainings. Embrace that pretty soon accelerations come. It's coming. So rest. Just rest. Don't stress it. Don't get anxious about it. Don't fret about it. Just say, oh, okay, cool. It's winter season. I got it. The clarity comes in these winter seasons. If I look back at the month that I thought, oh my goodness, I don't think I'm ever going to get past this rank. It wasn't long after that winter season. There was acceleration season. But in that winter season, I was learning a lot about myself. I was having very good time with the Lord, and he was preparing for the next stage. And for every new stage, you're becoming a new person, it seems, and he's preparing you. So the more you can embrace it, not resist it, I think the better off you'll be, because you're getting off that emotional roller coaster, right, of network marketing. You can't be dependent and only decide you love this business just if you just got a new customer that day, or just if you love how your points are. But if you have a foundation of what you're doing is what God's put in your hands to do, there's a bigger picture to it, there's a bigger impact to this, and out of the heartbeat of, I have something in my hands that can touch people. But you know what, beyond what's in your hands to touch people, you have you. Sometimes touching people, it may not involve your pink drink. It may be that they just need someone to reach out to them and love on them that day. They may need someone to get on the phone with them and say, you can do this. I'm here to pray for you. Let's pray together. They might need someone else to meet them for coffee. And if you will embrace, too, that it's not all about your sales. It's not about your PV. It's not about your points. It's about making an impact. It's about making a difference in the world and the people around you. And when you can let go of the stress of reaching your goal and reaching your points and how many orders you have and whether you qualified for the watch this month yet, let that go and start your day with, God, who can I reach today? And I'm willing to reach them however you lead me to. I won't put you in a box. You can't take the God of the universe and put him in a Plexus box, right? There's going to be times that he's going to need you to give them Plexus. Many of them need it. But if you'll keep impact in mind first above everything else, there's a grace and an ease that will come to your journey and make it way more enjoyable and way more fulfilling along the way. I don't know. I think I kind of went off a tangent. I don't know where I was even talking about my journey or anything, but
no, you're doing good. I love hearing your story.
Well, thanks. I'm just glad I didn't cry this time. That might be the first time I haven't cried sharing my story, so praise God.
Getting better.
Yeah, yesterday I spoke. Was that yesterday? Is this Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah, I spoke somewhere 2 hours away, and I was a flubbering mess. Oh, man. I was a hot mess.
Yeah, there are so many things that are very relatable about your story to a lot of mamas, whether they only have one kid or 5 or 7. Mm-hmm. We all go through the waves of emotion. And one of the biggest things that Allison and I actually have been talking about with our team is that emotional roller coaster and trying to not be on it and or seeing it as the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording so we can ask you some questions.
Deal.